minivan.
So welcome, right? So here we are at our first episode ever. I put my glasses on so I can see. Here we are for our Do Epic Shit podcast.
Yes.
So first I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We're so excited to have you here. We're super excited about this. So my name is Colleen Basinski. Who am I? I've been a realtor, business owner, entrepreneur, mom, and a grandma. I've been in real estate for 25 years. This is my 25th year this year. Woohoo!
Wow.
We should do a party for that. 25th year in real estate. I've owned brokerages. I've sold as a solo agent, ran a team, and had other businesses as well. And Kim, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Kim Neill. Been a realtor for 13 years. Mom of 3. I don't know. My resume isn't as extensive as yours is.
I would disagree with that. You've been an investor.
I've done rentals, investors, flips. That's kind of my thing.
You've had a team. You've been solo.
Absolutely.
You've navigated ups and downs of all the different things of being a wife, a mom, a business owner, a realtor.
That is true.
Multiple properties, investment properties.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
I guess so.
You should just bring me around with you all the time.
Right? Make me sound like a rock star.
So we're going to start by talking a little bit about why we're doing this, like what Epic Shit means to us and why we picked the name. And we're just going to talk a little bit about our background and share some things with you today. We'll share some inspiration on, why we decided to do this podcast and what it means to us and the meaning of Epic Shit, how it came to be and what you can expect when you tune in and listen forward. And we'll close it out with what you can expect on the next episodes. So Kim, what's your story? So your personal, professional story, like how'd you end up in real estate?
So, I've been married for 25 years, married to a carpenter. And actually the goal it wasn't even to sell residential real estate. It actually was to buy and flip our own property. So what we did is we did 1 or 2 in Indiana. Then I had small kids at the time. And then after that, I'm like, instead of paying a realtor, like anybody else, instead of paying a realtor, it was like, well, why don't I just do that and do our own stuff, which makes sense. I think a lot of us have that idea. So that's exactly what I did. My kids were small, 6, 8, and I went to real estate
What about
school.
Donovan? He was a little guy. What was he?
Yeah, he was 3.
Yeah.
2, 3. So mom, wife, stay-at-home mom, and then literally went to school, got my license, and jumped right in. And I think the first year, and I think it's forever, everybody can, attest to this, that your first year, you're like, do I stay? I think I did 3 deals. Do I stay? Oh my gosh, it's costing me money. And then I was at a brokerage for a year, and I think I did $7,000, which
Not
literally
even barely enough to cover your dues
that's
and all
all
your
it
fees,
did.
right?
Literally, that's all it did. And then I switched. Somebody came to me and said, before you leave because I was leaving the business. I'm like, this is too expensive. They bring me to another brokerage. And I think that's where I met you.
I think it was.
It was.
And you were going to join us, and then you didn't, and you joined another brokerage for a week, and then you came over.
And for 1 week. And you really, I was thinking about this the other day. You know what really got me to come there that I was like, oh, you gave me a book. It was a book. And I was like, oh, they gave me a book and it can help me. And all I have to do is read this and do what it says. And literally, I think probably, no lie, and this is no lie, 8 weeks after I joined with you, started training, and I had 6 deals under contract within 8 weeks.
Dang.
And I had 3 little kids at home.
Yeah.
3 little kids at home, 6 deals running. I was driving a minivan. But you don't, I'm pulling up to a minivan.
Hey, I got you beat though. When I started, I didn't have a car. I tell you, I came from the depths of nothingness, like literally. Little kids, had just gotten divorced. I don't even know if I was officially finally divorced yet, because my divorce to my first husband took probably like 2 years. Like he thought if he didn't show up to court that it would just go away. So it just kept getting extended and extended. So don't regret it because obviously I have my kids and they're awesome and wonderful. But I actually got into real estate because, I was at a bottom place and, I never finished college. I went to community college, got my associate's degree, and then just stopped from there. And, this is from the girl who's like, oh, she's going to go to college. She's in all honors classes. She's this, she's that, high on the ACTs, and just made some poor choices early on, like we all do, right?
Absolutely.
And then when I was divorcing my husband, I met my now wonderful husband, current husband, and he actually babysat my kids so that I could go to real estate school. Here he's like dating this guy. She's got 3 kids, right? And I'm like, oh, by the way, I'd like to get my real estate license. I don't have a car or anyone to watch my kids. Can you pick me up from the train station from work?
What did he say?
He's a trooper. Like, he really is. And people are like, if they know Bart now, they're like, oh, yeah, he's got it made. But they don't know the shit I put him through. Holy cow. Like, it was crazy. Crazy. Yeah. But literally, I remember wanting to do something with my life that I could make a difference for my kids. And like, I'm working 2 jobs, single mom, trying to figure out, I think it was like my youngest birthday, and he wanted a Lego toy. Like this, Legos are expensive too.
Absolutely.
You remember those Lego kits? They're even more expensive now.
Yep.
But back then, like, we didn't have 2 nickels to scrape together, and PJ wanted something, and I'm like, oh, I just got to get this for him. And I remember thinking, like, going through my closet, thinking, like, do I have something with the tags on it that was a gift that I could sell or give back or like whatever, so that I could get enough money to buy this kid this birthday present. And for me, that was the moment I decided, like, I want to control my destiny. It's not how much someone's going to pay me. It's not how much I'm going to do. I want to be able to make sure that my kids always have what they need and that they're always taken care of. And so that was the moment I decided, real estate, why not? Right? Like, I can do this fast. I can do it quick. I can get my license. I'm good at taking tests. Like, the class was no problem. But yeah, Bart, he had to pick me up from the train station because I took the train to work because I was working downtown at the time. He would pick me up from the train station, and then we'd get the kids from, I don't remember who was babysitting at the time while we were both at work. And then he would drop me off at real estate school, and then he would watch my kids at night so that I could go to real estate school.
He is a trooper.
Right? So you had a minivan. I didn't even have a car. I quickly got one after that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it was rough. Like, it was hard. So.
I always feel like with real estate, we all come from, what can we do with our life? How can we make it better? How can we do better? How can we provide better?
Well, I feel like whether it's real estate or anything else, like being your own business person and being an entrepreneur, and you see a lot of kids these days. I say kids, but they're young adults, right? Because like the older I get, the more everyone looks like kids to me. That are all figuring out different ways to start their own businesses, whether it's like Etsy businesses or on Instagram or TikTok or any of these different things that they're doing. That's the way to really get themselves further. And not that there's anything wrong with college. Don't get me wrong. Like, some of my kids went to college and they have degrees and they have great jobs or are on the pathway to great jobs. I think each person has to find their own path, though.
Sure.
So when you said it took you 6 months and you had $7,000.
Yeah.
So I had 6 months, had $0. Yeah, $0 after 6 months. So it was my first 6 months in the business. I had nothing. And I remember there's certain moments in your life that like they just stand out and you're like, oh, yes. And I remember that it was Memorial Day weekend because I started in January. So I got my license like January 1st I started. And I actually had a job when I started. And I said, this is too hard to do both full time. So I had 3 little kids at home and I had a job and I quit my job 3 months in. Now I'm dating my now husband and he's helping like support me and like do it. He goes, you did what? I'm like, I want to do this full time. I know I can do this. Just trust me. Just trust me. And those next 3 months, like if we were able to make it through that and still get married, like we'll be fine no matter what throughout forever, right?
So wait a minute, you just said I'm quitting?
Yeah, I said I I was making, I don't know, like minuscule dollars. Like I was in administration. So I was doing accounts payable, accounts receivable work for a guy who was stealing from his partners, and I'm the one keeping the books, and I'm like, I don't want any part of this. Like I didn't feel good about it. He was in the middle of a lawsuit with his partners, and I'm like, this is not, I don't want to be in the circle of this.
Sure.
So I'm like, I'm out of here. So PJ at the time, my youngest, who's on the autism spectrum, got kicked out of 2 daycares.
Wow,
They didn't know,
yeah.
like back, I mean, he's 27 next month. So they didn't know like what autism was back
Right.
then and how it was. And so they're just like, he's bad. He can't come here anymore. And I'm like, great. Now who's going to watch my kids? How am I going to do this? The guy I work for is a criminal. Like, this is enough. Enough's enough. And so I just said, I quit. And Bart's like, what? And I'm like, I quit. I'm going to sell real estate full time. So it took another 3 months before I had my first sale, though. So 3 months after that. But then the next 3 months, I sold like just under $2 million in real estate,
Yeah.
which nowadays doesn't seem like that much. But then that was, I mean, we're talking 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was a lot. Mm-hmm. But I remember the first sale happened right after Memorial. This is how I know the timeline, because it was Memorial Day weekend, and everybody has barbecues Memorial Day weekend, right? So like you want to go to the barbecue and you want to like hang out with your family or whatever. And Bart's like, oh, we're going to do this. And we're dating. And he's helping with my kid, had been helping with my kids and helping pay my bills and, you know, like all this stuff. He had his own house. He was a single dad. I have my own house. I'm a single mom. Like he's supporting 2 households, working 3 jobs. He was in the union, or like new in the union, had his own business, a landscaping business. And then he bounced at the bars at night too. So he like literally slept like 2 hours a week. So it's no wonder that he wants to sleep like 15 hours a day now. It's making up for the years. But I remember it was Memorial Day weekend, and he's like, oh, let's go barbecue. I'm like, I can't. I got to do open house, and I have to show property to this buyer that I got on. Remember floor calls?
I do.
So I got a floor call. Buyer wanted to go out. That buyer never bought with me, by the way. I don't think they did. But I'm like, I got to work all weekend. And I don't know. Are we allowed to swear on this?
Yeah.
So to the exact quote, he looked at me straight in the eyes and he goes, when are you going to quit that stupid fucking real estate
Been there.
bullshit? He's like, this is enough. I want to have a barbecue. We want to have, and I'm like, no. So like, I guess that's the first lesson that I learned is like, you have to stand up for yourself in this business and you have to believe in yourself. And I said, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it. And like literally my first closing was 30 days after that. And then, like I said, $2 million worth of real estate.
Which is a lot of money. I mean,
I had a lot of back bills to pay. I had a lot to make up for. I owed him a lot of money. I had my rent to pay. Oh, and I was getting no child support from my ex-husband either. So like it was, yeah. So there you go. So that's my start.
Isn't that great? Yeah, I don't even know. I think when I started, that first year was 7 and the next was right under 2 or 3 million, somewhere around there. And then
Well, I think that throughout this this journey of this podcast with these folks, we're going to have some cool stories to share. Like, I mean, obviously, I know some of your stories.
Oh,
and,
God.
you know, we spent a lot of time laughing about it, and we're going to have some cool stuff to share with each other. So,
oh, for sure.
So I hope you subscribe and tune in because we definitely will have some fun stuff to talk about. So what's one of the lessons you learned the hard way early on in business or life or whatever? Like I shared a couple of mine just now, but
I think, like for me, one of the things that really that I look back now and that I can, you know, that I've taken away is that I really have become a self-sufficient, stronger person because of this, because of this career choice. You know, I was married or am married and was a stay-at-home mom for 12 years. It was always, can I spend $10 on this? Can I spend $12? I wouldn't go anywhere without him. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, as far as like, you know.
I think you were always strong. I think this allowed you to show who you really are.
Absolutely.
Who you are on the inside doesn't change.
That is true. But I think for me anyways, this has allowed me to grow to, you know, in ways that I never thought that I could.
Yeah, fair enough.
As far as like a person and a mom and a friend and, you know, I can give back and, help people and do things for my children that I never thought I could do, and have fun along the way too.
Well, we have a lot of fun.
That's for sure. Wow. So for me, I really feel like it allowed me to stand on my own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Where I never have to worry about,
Well, and I can see that, like, I think this happens in a lot of relationships. Wouldn't you agree that sometimes one person, their independence or their personality or who they are gets kind of blended into just being the wife and the mom.
Absolutely.
And they never get to express all the great qualities they have. And I think this would allow
you
you to
said
do
something just earlier. I was like, oh, you said, like, I didn't want to be, you were working admin and you didn't go to college, as either did I. And you always kind of flounder. What am I going to do? I really want to do something, but I have these kids and I didn't go to school and everybody else did, or what are they doing? And real estate really gives you an opportunity to grow and fit into something that suits you. Well, for me, it did. So when I went to school and started going, about 5 years in, I was like, oh, I'm good at this. I can do this. And again, the first couple years for me were rocky, and I mean, you were there, and people were calling the office on me. She's doing this, and I'm like, oh my God, you're not supposed to do that, or I didn't know. You're just kind of
a lot of it's trial and error, right?
Moving and
A lot of it's
shaking.
trial and error. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, and also, though, I hope that by us sharing this, so the people out there that are watching, the listeners, can kind of shortcut some of the mistakes that we've made instead of having all that trial and error, and for it to take, like, hopefully this will fast track some people or encourage them and keep them going.
I think that's what I hope to get out of it, is to encourage people to keep going and not give up. And because you have to want it. I can't want it for them. You can't want it for them. But, in the beginning, it's a little rough.
Yeah. Why don't you quit at...
I had it too.
Let's hear your story.
I
wanna
had
hear
it
that
too.
one.
So, Dave, this stands out to me so much, this one. So, I'm doing floor time. I'm coming in. I'm going to classes. I'm on the phones, and and of course nothing happens overnight. And I remember going to, remember Emred Palooza?
Oh, yeah.
And I
The
remember
MLS, a convention or whatever. Yeah.
And I was like, well, I want to go. And everyone's like, no, I don't want to go. I'm not going up there. It was at Rosemont Horizon or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I want to go. And I remember walking around, and there was a table there. And they said, if you sign up with us, we can promise you such and such leads. And I thought, oh my God, we were on such a tight budget then that I was like, what? I can't afford $80 a month. It was 80. I'll never forget it, because I literally started sweating bullets. And I was like, and it was a great sales pitch. And I was like, okay, but how long is the contract? What do you do? And he was like, 6 months. I'm like, 8 times 6 is, oh my God, that's, $500. Oh. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just going to do it. If I fall, I fall. And so I'm like, okay, let me sign up. And I think I got 1 or 2 leads from them. And that was it. And I closed those leads. And I thought, oh. And I remember getting the bill. And Dave was like, what are you spending $80 a month on? What is this? And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. He was like, you're spending $80 a month for this. I was like, I don't know what it is. He's like, well, you better call the credit card people. I was like, okay, I'll call. And I thought, out of all months, he gets the bill? What? And it just went on from there. It was just a combination of, doing that, coming in the office, following people around. And I was just, I think gratitude and being grateful for people that you go in and see every day. I mean, you don't know it then, but looking back on it now, I'm like,
well, that's why they say hindsight's 20/20, right?
Absolutely.
You look back and you're like, oh.
I mean, I look at things now and I hear people talk and I'm like, what? What? I literally, stole from Peter to pay Paul. Yeah. And I just kept thinking, you tell a story that you told Bart, I'm just going to do this. I was one of those incognito spenders, doers, because I didn't want anybody to look at me and say, oh, well, you did this and now you failed. So I was like incognito, but I knew it. I was going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't married to him yet either, so
That's
I could tell him that. It was different, right? Once we were married, it was a little different. No, not much, but right?
You can't buy diapers this month because I spent $80.
Well, and I remember, when you first joined, scraping by, I had to borrow the money to pay my MLS dues.
Yep.
Like when you joined the association, there was those fees and things like
Yep.
$1,000 for membership and initiation and fast track and, all the things that you had. So.
Yeah. Super Keys or Centra. Yeah, it all added up.
What inspired you, me, us, to start Do Epic Shit? And what do we hope that our listeners will take away from this?
So, really, when we talked about this, I really wanted to breed an honest conversation. I wanted it to be honest. I wanted it to be epic, because you don't hear a lot of honest, honest stories. When I walked into a crackhead, when I walked into a naked guy,
Yep.
You don't hear. I never heard that. It was.
Well, I think people are posturing a lot too. They make it sound like it's so glamorous. Like I always hear this thing, and I was talking to my son the other day too, and he was like, I see all these people, and they feel like they seem like they have it all together, and I'm like, no. And I've heard this saying a bunch of times. It's don't compare your life to someone else's highlight reel. And so I think we wanted to pull the shades
You
or
bet.
the filter, I guess is a better word, the filter off the highlight reel so that we could show really share. I mean, we have a lot of stories. We have a lot of good experiences, some good, some not so good, some
yeah.
funny, some scary. I mean, yeah.
I had a guy pull a gun on me. I mean, I had
a guy sick his pit bulls on me at the front door. I also swore in front of a little kid once because there was a loose pit bull. And I love pit bulls. I have a pit bull, right? I've had pit bulls. But when it's a strange dog and it's coming at you in a vacant house, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I dropped an F-bomb in front of a little 6-year-old. Just saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just comes out.
Hey.
But I think hearing those stories, I think you're right. Being honest and just taking the filter off and sharing, bearing it all. Shit, right?
That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what about epic? What makes it epic?
We do.
Well, I mean, we've gotten to do some pretty cool stuff though, haven't we?
We have. Things I would have never done before. I mean, it really has opened up a lot of opportunities and a lot of doors for us.
I would say for sure. I've got to go places I would have never been before,
Yep.
travel. I think, especially being Midwesterners, right? I think, people in other parts of the country maybe don't, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just assuming and judging or whatever. But I feel like Midwesterners, sometimes we just stay in our own little bubble, we're in our box, and you don't travel and you don't see the world, and you grow up in a blue collar, middle to low income,
Yeah.
low to middle income family, and you just go and you do, and you go to work and you just work hard, and then that's it, and you don't see the world, and you don't do different things, and I think
agree.
real estate has, for me at least anyway, opened my eyes and my opportunities to see some epic things. We're going to do some epic things together this summer, so we'll probably, maybe we'll go on the road a little bit and share some on the road
Oh my
podcasts
God.
with you. Oh my gosh, I'm laughing right now. We have some already, and then we're gonna have to bring like a camera crew with
For
us.
sure. For sure.
Oh my gosh.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we're gonna have some cool.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good year this year.
And how about guest speakers? We're gonna bring some guest speakers on.
Absolutely. I got some good ones in mind.
Oh, perfect. So what do we hope our listeners take away from this?
I hope I hope they come along for the ride for just an open, honest, fun, informative hour.
Yeah,
with us.
I would agree. I want them to be entertained.
Absolutely.
But also,
Yep.
I hope that we can inspire and motivate some people. Like, I've seen the bottom of the barrel a couple of times in my life and clawed my way back up. And if one or two of those little stories that I share of what happened and how that happened and who the people around me were that helped me claw my way back up, if we can inspire someone else to do the same, either for themselves or for someone else to give someone else a hand up, I would say that's it. Who or what has been your biggest influence or motivation along the way?
Business, you think? Or friend? What do you...
Doesn't matter.
So business-wise, I really believe for me, it's who you surround yourself with. And God knows I've been here, there, everywhere.
I had a couple, 2, 3, 4 brokerages.
Yep.
Me too.
Especially lately.
But I think that's a lesson, and we'll probably do a whole episode on that, on not settling and not staying put just because you're there. Like, figure out, like, who your tribe is and who you're supposed to be around. And we'll do a whole episode on that, I think, because I want to hear like all the ups and downs and what went into make your decision process and the people that you listened to that maybe you shouldn't have and the ones that you did that you should, and kind of like how you learned from those,
them.
Right?
Yeah. So I think inspirational. I mean, you for sure would be one of them, for sure.
Thanks.
Who else do we have around? There's a few.
And I think at each point in your journey, there's different people that come into your life. And it's for a season. They're there for a season, or they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, they come and go. And, I know we got Kristen over there in the commanding our controls for us. And, she's coming in and out of both of our lives over and over again.
Yeah.
And I feel like the circle is strong now. Like we're in the right people in the right place at the right time.
That is the key. It's
I got goosebumps.
It's at the right time. What did you just say the other day? Or even was it today? When the student is there, the teacher will.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah, and I feel like that's how it's been lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, really. And I think, we go through trials and tribulations through our career, and life in general. And I think this was no different. But I think that this year we're going to come back bigger and stronger.
Oh, I agree.
I think
agree.
With the crowd or with the people we have around us this year, and all we can do is just add to it to make it better.
Yeah.
We have that core circle. Mm-hmm. And then we just add more people in. I'm really excited to see what we have.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting it's like getting the band back together.
It is. It really is. And it's the band that we choose.
Yeah.
And not just.
Yeah. We don't like that drummer. He doesn't have to come back.
Absolutely. He doesn't,
or she, whatever.
When he tries out, he don't make the cut.
Yep.
And I think that's the beauty about what we have right now. We can, choose who comes in and who doesn't.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
If it wasn't for the things that I went through, I feel like everything when you're young kind of leads you to where you are now. So for me, I wouldn't change anything that I did or who, was in my life. Well, maybe, but.
Well, but not to interrupt you or anything, but I also think that it's those things that make you who you are
Absolutely.
today.
I think I would have jumped in sooner. I think I would have went full in sooner. Like, start sooner. Really. Because I feel like anything else, I liked my journey. Not that it was always pleasant, but like you said, it made me who I am today. And I kind of like who I am today.
I like who you are today, too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
That's why I like hanging out with you. For me, I would say believe in yourself more. Like,
That's a good, yeah.
stand up for yourself, believe in yourself, have the courage, have the confidence. Because a lot of times, I have a tendency to be a little bit of a perfectionist. Have you noticed that?
No, you?
Well, but I think sometimes perfectionism will paralyze you, that you don't act as quickly on an opportunity, or you don't go forward on something, or you're trying to, fix it and do it and getting ready to get ready all the time. And I think there's an opportunity there. So I would definitely, the advice I would give my younger self is that you can do this. You're going to be okay. Because hard work has never been, I'll outwork anyone anytime if I have to. Don't get me wrong. I like my time off and I like to have fun too. But when it comes down to it, if I got to work 14, 16, 18 hours, I don't care. I'll do it. So it's just, you'll get there. Just believe in yourself. And also don't worry about what people say so much.
That's a good, that's spot on, really. Don't worry what everybody else says.
Usually, and I think I heard Alex Hormozy say this the other day. So, I watch all of his stuff and listen to some of his podcasts and some of his social media stuff. And he said, the haters that are talking shit about you usually are not the ones that are doing more than you are, or doing something that you aspire to be. They're doing less than you, or not someone who you aspire to be. So don't worry about it. So, right? You're thinking of specific people, aren't you? I know you are.
And that's why I'm laughing, because I sure am.
We're not going to call any names out right now, but
Not
I
yet.
can think of a few.
Me too.
Like,
Me too.
you may have more, that person may have more money, but their life is miserable, or that person may be whatever, but then, they're trying to scrape by to get whatever they want, but All right, so the meaning, I think we talked about this a little bit. The meaning of doing epic shit. Like, what does do epic shit really mean to us? Like, in terms of mindset, action, impact.
When I think epic shit, I think large, like larger than life. Like, let's do epic shit. And actually, just while we're talking, which could mean anything that we're doing now, building what we're building now. I mean, Christ almighty. Who the hell drives to Florida, rents an RV, and goes and sits in a horse farm? That's some epic shit.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a 10-day vacation, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, there's just a lot of things. I mean, look what we just did.
You hopped on a
boat.
ferry and came over from one end across the Gulf of America.
Anybody could,
because it wasn't the Gulf of America, then it was the Gulf of Mexico.
It was
at the
the
time.
Gulf. Yeah, it was.
Took a ferry to come hang out with us.
And was nauseated.
It wasn't the tide like over the side of
Over the side, like the Titanic was coming. I was like, texting. I was scared. I was like,
I'm like, bye. Let me know when you get there.
Call us when you get home. I was like, shh. It was like, who
That's
does
epic.
that?
No, but that's the kind of like you only live once. Like, I know they say, oh, YOLO, but like you really YOLO. Like, do the stuff you can. And that's what it means to me, I think.
Right.
Like, not only like physically doing, but like thinking in terms of your mindset. Like, believe in yourself that anything is possible. Like, go out and do the thing. Do the thing.
Right.
Have the time, explore the opportunity, and just, take the action. And I would also say, I want to add one other thing to that. I said impact. I want to impact other people on an epic level. Like, because we could just have our fun and do this. But, like, putting this out there to the world, I think, to impact other people. I know what it's like to be a single mom. I know what it's like to be in an abusive relationship. I know what it's like to lose a child. Like, I know what it's like to not know where your groceries are going to come from one week to the next. Like, I know what it's like, believe it or not, I had a conversation with my cousin. I know what it's like to be homeless. Like, I wasn't living in a cardboard box, but like, homeless comes in different ways. So like all of those things, if I can share those and make a difference to someone who's in that position, that to me is an epic
Me too.
impact.
I agree with you there. Like I really want people to know that they can do it with a little bit of hard work and determination. I say it when we're all together, like if you want it, it's there. Like I would love to see people take advantage of that and do epic shit. Really?
So let's share the stories. Let's share the experiences. Let's give people something to be motivated about. At the end of the day, they're going to have to take it and do with it what they want. But I will say, like, going back to the beginning, one of the ways that I learned a lot of the things I learned is I was determined. I was going to read. I'm a computer nerd. You'll learn from me. Like, I was one of those kids that had, they were hand-me-down computers because I did not have, my parents did not have a lot of money, but my cousins would, like, hand me down their, like, leftover computers, and I would, like, I'm an internet junkie. Like, I'm on the internet looking for stuff. So literally when I got into real estate, I was like, I got to look up how to do this, look up this. And everybody was an expert, but everybody wasn't really an expert. And so you learn from trial and error by trying all these things that the experts told you to do. So I would say, how do we personally live out this idea of do epic shit daily in our lives? Like, what are we doing on the day? I think you talked about that, like the adventures we're going on and the conversations we're having and people we're helping.
And I just want to add to that I feel like work hard, play hard. Mm-hmm. You know,
I love that one. Work hard, play harder.
I feel like if we work hard, it allows us to do epic shit. It allows us to live a bigger life. Mm-hmm. It allows us to help more.
I'm excited about our vacation this summer.
I'm so excited. You have no fucking idea.
I kind of do.
My boyfriend's going to be there. I'm just excited about that. I'm just happy.
Do you want to share with our audience who your boyfriend is or not yet?
Kid Rock. And if you're listening, call me.
Yes, we know.
I'm waiting.
Oh, I almost killed you last year at his concert. We'll talk about that later.
No.
Oh, you want to share it now?
Well, no. Well,
Okay,
I'll share one part. Colleen was like, "Oh my God, there's Kid Rock for you, Kim." As we're buffaloing our way through the crowd up front, it was, yeah.
It was like 103 in the middle of a horse farm in Florida in June.
103.
No shade.
Well, we knew every day it was 107. It was 108 one day because we had Tom Skilling, the weatherman, with us. It's 108 out here. How'd I know? We were half schnockered every day.
That is true.
So, yeah. Hopefully we won't die this year.
So what can our listeners, please tune in, subscribe, expect moving forward? What kind of things are we going to talk about in terms of the vibe? What's the format going to be of future episodes? I mean, it's going to be real. It's going to be real. It's going to be raw. Like, I mean, you've heard us a little bit. Like, I'm the kind of person that the more I talk and the more comfortable I get with you, the more you hear and the more you learn and the more that it all comes off. So you're going to see us get more and more open and more real and more raw. So it's going to be real talk, no fluff, and actionable insights, I would say. For sure. How do you do this? What I would like people to take away is, you can have a successful career and have a successful business and play too. And how do you combine them both to make it work? Mm-hmm. And I think being real and raw and ups and downs, and how do you learn? Well, topics we're going to talk about are going to be business. I've had businesses that have been wildly successful, and I've had businesses that have been massive failures. Some my fault, some not my fault. Who you get into business with matters. Who you trust, who you bring in your circle. What's the circle look like?
I got a lot to say about that.
What was that? Can't hear you. You got a lot to say about that?
I do have a lot to say about that.
I will say business leadership. Leadership is a big topic. There's a shortage of leadership in the world, and how you show up as a leader, the lessons that we've learned in leadership, how we can influence and impact others. So we're going to talk about leadership. Real estate, of course. I mean,
Absolutely. My favorite.
So I think from the real estate perspective, we'll talk about how to build a real estate business. We'll talk about what clients can use to be more successful in buying or selling. So it won't be just for other real estate people, but it'll be, any consumer, I think, can take tidbits and pointers out of what we've learned. There'll be some scary stories in there too, because we all have the naked guy story, I'm sure. But also investing. So, investing in real estate, flipping, holding.
Airbnb.
Short term, I was going to say, Airbnb. We work with a lot of investors. We have cash offer investors. We have hold investors. We have flip investors. We have, that experience. Both of our husbands have been in the trades and construction. So there's that whole aspect. And now your boys are in it too, in a different leg of it. Kristen can attest to that as well. So I think real estate probably from every different angle. I don't think there's one. I mean, we've had title business. We've done. I personally haven't done mortgages, but we're going to bring some special guests on to talk about the finance side of things, mortgage end of things, investing. Maybe I can get my son to come on. I don't know. We'll see. He's just graduated or about to graduate with tax law specialization. So
for sure.
He can give us some tax pointers.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll tell us how to avoid paying taxes, but maybe. Spent a whole year just studying
Not a
tax
bad
law.
idea.
Right? But everything real estate related, whether it's how to pay less in taxes, to invest. I've had the pleasure of learning from Tom Wheelwright on a couple of occasions, actually, who is a great mind when it comes to tax and real estate and how to use investments to lower your tax bracket and taxable income, etc. So I'll share what I learned. I mean, I'm not the expert, but at least I can share what I've done, how to get yourself out of trouble when you've got into trouble with the IRS a few times. I will say that. I've had that happen too. Yeah. You'd think I was 100 years old with all the shit I've been through.
When you say something, it goes right to my, and I think, oh.
I mean, there's a lot. No matter where you are in your life, we probably have an experience either personally or indirectly that we can relate to and talk about. So also, email us, follow us online, send us your questions, your topics. We're happy to talk about those as well. After real estate, obviously life lessons. We've got a lot of life lessons.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We got over 100 years between the two of us. I won't say who's got more.
Or somebody would have showed me a few.
Yeah, right. And then, of course, it goes without saying, epic stories, right? I don't want to share them all today, but I'm laughing because they're all running through my mind. Like, there's some good ones, some really good ones.
There are some really good ones.
So I would just encourage everyone to subscribe, share, and join the conversation. We're excited to take you on this journey, doing some epic shit
with us.
Any final words of motivation that you have for our listeners, Kim?
I would like to tell, if anybody has, if you're listening and anybody has any topics or questions that they want to, give us, or I'm all ears for sure. Yeah. I'd love to hear from people.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the more that we can hear from our audience and from all of you out there, the better this is going to be, because we want it to be real, we want it to be raw, we want it to be epic, and the way that that's going to happen is by you getting into the conversation with us.
Absolutely,
So
I agree.
I'm excited about opening that up to everybody. So we've got some incredible episodes coming up that we know will resonate with many of you. Next week, we're diving into how to start a business while raising kids, sharing real stories, lessons learned.
Kristen, this will be good for you too.
Tips for juggling entrepreneurship with motherhood without losing your sanity.
Oh, I don't know. I'm still trying to find mine.
there's a few songs I can think of that kind of portray my life in that regard pretty easily. And then we're also going to tackle some of the things over the first couple weeks is protecting your time and saying no, how to set boundaries, prioritizing what truly matters, and deal with family and outside influences that don't always get it.
Oof.
Why don't you get a real job?
Don't-
Or how about when they call you all day long, every day, can you go run and do this and can you run and do that? Because you're just in real estate. You don't actually have to work.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that. We're going to get into that a bit. Of course, we're going to get real about managing the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. Because let's be honest, this journey is a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
And
But
we're,
it's worth it.
yeah, and we're going to help you
worth
navigate the ups and downs with confidence.
Absolutely.
I think confidence is going to be a key part of that. So we're excited. Make sure you're subscribed. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And get ready to do epic shit with us every week.
Woo!
Peace
Yes.
out.